To the latest edition of My Gills With. I'm happy to say tonight I'm joined by fellow Gills fan Dave Creasy, who you can find on Twitter at Dave Creasy GFC. That's got the formalities out of the way. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad at all, mate. Thanks for having me.
No, good to get you on and have a chat. I'm enjoying doing these. It's keeping me occupied during this ongoing lockdown, so it's nice to have a chat about football once in a while. So we'll crack straight on then.
No worries at all.
Let's do this then. Right, question one, as always, it's the same questions. How long have you been supporting the Gills?
Well, I've been supporting the Gills since 1998.
Okay.
Bit of a funny one. I'm one of those people that used to support another team, believe it or not. My dad was a QPR fan, season ticket holder.
Right.
Tried his hardest to get me to go to QPR. Went about 4 or 5 times from what I can remember. But all my Christmas presents, birthday presents were QPR shirts with Ferdinand 9 on the back.
Okay. Oh, because he'd have still been there then, wouldn't he? Yeah.
He would have been, yeah. My dad changed jobs, started to work Saturdays, and I was too young at the time to be allowed to go to London on the train. Okay. So I was allowed to go to Gillingham on the train.
Okay.
The game came up. First one I went to was kids for £1, and me and a few mates from school all popped along. And believe it or not, at the time, none of us were actually Gills fans that went.
Okay.
So that's where it started from me. And
and then from there you was hooked, I suppose. Did we win?
We didn't, no. So the first one I went to was Macclesfield Town at home. Obviously, it was 2-2.
Oh yeah.
So it was the game where Tommy Trueblue arrived in a helicopter.
That was when he was launched, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was launched, yeah.
In the centre circle.
Yeah, so it was that game. So yeah, me and 3 other mates went, kids for £1, got there. They didn't let us in because we didn't have an adult. So geezer behind us in the queue, it said, "Oh, you can come in with us." So he just said he was the adult, and we all went in. And then from that game,
a bit more lax back then, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. But yeah, I remember quite a bit about the game. Darren Carr scored, John Hodge scored. Carlos Arbor got sent off right near the end for.
I remember we spoke to Carl a few weeks ago. I remember that being one of his red cards. I think the other one was Colchester. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he dived right at the end trying to get a penalty and got a second yellow, and yeah, it's done. And then from that game, I didn't miss another one for the rest of the season. So I don't know what it was that got me, because as I said, I only went to a few QPR games, and I don't know if it was the biggish stadium that QPR had, and then the atmosphere of standing, because I used to stand in the Rainham end. I don't know if it was that or what it was, but I think it was just I was at that age where football started to kick in and Gills were there.
I suppose it's just, as well, like you say, it's live football, isn't it? Regardless, I suppose at that age you're probably not. Sorry, don't mind me. How old are you?
36.
36, a year younger than me, yeah. So my first game was 89. I went with my dad. Obviously didn't start going regularly properly until sort of the mid-90s. I think 95, 96 was the first season where I started going. So it weren't a bad first season. But yeah, at the time it was just sort of the fact that you could go and watch professional football and you could afford to do it. I mean, I used to spend a tenner for the whole day. It was like bunk the train.
Oh, yeah.
Days where you could just bunk the train and hide in the toilet if the ticket officer came round.
Yeah.
I think the ticket was about £4. The programme was £2, and that left me £4 for a McDonald's or, I don't know, meat and chips or something horrific.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the fact that you could go out with your mates and spend a few hours at the football and watching professional footballers, and it didn't really matter what level it was. I just think, like you said, it was sort of having something that you could be affiliated to, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, because as I said, I can't really remember many QPR games that I went to, but there was something about this game and going to the Gills that just, I was instantly hooked. I wasn't one of those. I've got a few friends that can't stand Gillingham. They're from Gillingham, but they support other teams, can't stand Gillingham. But when I went with my dad, he still used to take me to a Gills game. Like, I've been to Gills games before 98, but 98 is when I started going every week, and
not properly,
properly. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Just loved it.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell you, to be honest, what it was, but here we are, sort of 25 years later, and I'm still going. So it must have been all right. It can't have been as bad as we all tend to make out. Season,
well, I suppose.
I
suppose there were 4 goals, a helicopter, sending off.
Yeah, I suppose in terms of the first game, you had pretty much everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I can't complain.
Right, so that's your first game attended. So that answers the first 2 questions, which is great. So we move on to, well, it might be the same game, but first significant Gills memory, maybe aside from a horse dropping out of a helicopter.
Yeah, the first one that I can, obviously apart from that game that I remember, I think it was the first time. I don't know if you were the same when you were at Gills back when we could stand.
Yeah.
You almost stood in fear that when we scored, we were going to get crushed, because as we used to pile forward, didn't we? And the railings across the Rainham end, and it was the Fulham game when Taylor scored in the last minute.
Oh, from John Hodges' cross. And that was the season after there'd been all the trouble, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that would have been, I think, my 4th or 5th game of that season that I went to. Yeah. And obviously the timing of the goal, and it's just, goosebumps now.
He was slap bang in the middle of the Rainham end as well.
Slap bang in the middle.
And last minute dark floodlights. Yeah, I remember you watch it on YouTube over and over again.
Yeah, and it's the first time where I was like, when we scored, everyone went crazy. Everyone was pushing forward, and it was just, I just remember that and remember the goal.
Yeah, I remember that game. It's one of them where you turn around after you've stopped celebrating, and you're like, hang about, I'm about 5 rows further forward than I was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, back then it was almost like you had to stand somewhere, thinking, I would prefer to stand down there, but if I stand here and we score, I'll end up where I want to be.
Yeah, I'll get down there eventually.
Yeah, get down there eventually.
Bournemouth at home, I think, was one of them. I think we was on Sky. That might have been that season as well. I think we was awful for an hour. I remember Hesse hit one from about 30 yards, took a huge deflection, but on the telly it looked like an absolute worldie because it was the angle of the camera. You couldn't see the deflection.
Yeah.
And do you remember Kevin Lisby?
Yes. Yeah.
He scored the winner in the last minute.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this to one of the lads I used to go with because we all went to school together. For some reason, decided to whip his shirt off in the middle of the Rainham end in the ensuing frenzy, and never ever found it. So he had to go home with no t-shirt.
Nice.
But yeah, it's games like that you just think.
And Fulham were a good side. Fulham had a lot of good players then.
That was just when they'd started to get the money, I think, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Al-Fayed had come in.
Yeah, I can't remember if Chris Coleman might have been there and a few others. They'd spent a fair bit of money.
Wilkins was the manager, wasn't he? I think they had Kevin Keegan as director of football. I think Peter Beardsley had gone there. They had a ridiculous side,
Yeah.
But we've always done that well, haven't we? We sort of, we probably compete better against the teams that we shouldn't.
Yeah, we still do now.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. I think we do. It's the teams that we should beat that we tend to have a bit of trouble with, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it was just the whole thing, the goal, the cross, the header, the Rainham end, the man that scored it, and it just sticks in my head.
It's one of my favourite memories as well. It is right up there, it has to be. Like you say, because of the fact that how good they were as well. And I think they went on and won the league and got over 100 points, didn't they?
Yeah.
So to be one of the few teams that said we took points off them, I think was really, really good. Moves us on nicely then. You've talked about a goal, but best ever Gills goal that you've seen live?
I've listed a few that I've got a particular favourite, but I've listed a few.
We can do a top 3 if you want. It don't matter.
Yeah, I've got Ty Gooden at Arsenal.
It's a screamer. It is a screamer.
Yeah. And then I'll go for an away goal because I've listed down Nicky Southall against Sheffield Wednesday was another good one. But I went to Bradford away. We were 2-0 up, lost 4-2. Michael Flynn scored both goals, and one of them was from about 25 yards, hit the bar, went in. Crowd went nuts, but we lost the game. But my favourite one is Hessenthaler away to Stoke, playoffs.
Been on Twitter the last couple of days, hasn't it?
And every time that's on, it's just, especially from where I was sitting as well, I was at the angle where you knew it was in.
So as soon as he hit it, you knew
it was. As soon as he hit it, you're like,
I was the same with the Nicky Southall one because I was in the middle of that temporary stand, and as soon as it set up and you see his foot go back, I thought if he catches this, Cernacek was in trouble. And as soon as it went, you just thought we're going to be seeing this like we are 20 years later, and we still see it and we still love it, and it still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Yeah,
and I think because who it was as well, like he wasn't exactly renowned for his goals.
No, not at all.
And I think obviously it was I know we won quite comfortably the second leg. They obviously had all the sending offs and that, but that goal I think was so crucial to what ended up happening.
Yeah, I think because although it ended up looking comfortable, didn't it? And like you say, they had 2 red cards, but I think they hit the post at 1-0, didn't they, with 9 men, and we didn't seem to be getting it over the line. And I imagine if it had been 3-1 going into the second leg and it was 1-0, we'd have probably had to be a little bit more open, and then chances are we could have got caught even if they did have a couple of men less. So in terms of the bigger picture, it weren't just the fact that it got us back in it. It was huge for the whole playoff thing.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it's so good talking about all these old games when we were really good as well.
The Gills did put it out, didn't they? It might have been today or yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 years to the day, isn't it, since that goal? Yeah.
And that was another one. I went to that game on my own, and I would have only been about 15 then. But bloke down the road from where I live had a season ticket. I've never spoke to the guy ever, but I was too young to get the coach on my own. So I bought a ticket, got on the coach with this bloke that's down the road, but my seat was nowhere near him. Right. And then sat on my own at the game, and then met him back on the coach to go.
Things you do for your football team, it's mad, isn't it?
God, yeah. It's one of those things you just think, I'm never going to be one of those that goes on my own.
No.
And I must have done 2 free away trips on my own, and pre-season friendlies on my own. But I'm quite lucky. I go with a good friend, and my dad goes to the Gills now, believe it or not, from his QPR. He sits next to me at Gills now.
So it's all almost gone full circle.
Yeah, he's still a QPR fan, but it's more now because we're obviously moved out and stuff, and that it's a chance to spend time with the old man, and he sits next to me.
Excellent stuff. Right, we've done best goal then. Right, let's move on to full 90 minutes. So we're talking now about best ever Gills game as a whole.
See, this was tough because some of the best games that I can remember, we don't always win. Talking Arsenal, talking the Chelsea home game, I thought were brilliant games just because of not necessarily our performance, but
just who they were,
Who they were.
We scared them for a long time,
Yeah, but a few that stick in my head are Hereford, 5-4.
Yeah, you don't get many of them. That was ridiculous.
No, that was ridiculous. I was unfortunate. I don't always go to the Johnson's Paint Trophy game, so I didn't go to the 7-5 or whatever that was with.
Oh, I went to that. That was an interesting night. I think we worked it out. It was about 45p a goal. It worked out for the £10 ticket admission or something. It was something ridiculous, but it was just one of them games where it was like watching a game of FIFA, to be honest. It was absolutely crazy. But it's one of them you can say, I was there. There's not many people that can say they've been to a professional football match and there was 12 goals and there was only 2 between the 2 sides. It's ridiculous. But
exactly. Another couple, unfortunately, the Man City game, just the whole day, the goals, the penalties, obviously the result was a shame, but I don't think, apart from Gillingham fans, no one else is going to experience what we did that day. And I
always say, if you could amalgamate the Man City day out, but with the winning result, you'd have the perfect playoff final for a supporter of any club because of the fact, like you say, the Gallaghers were there. There was a record attendance for that level.
Didn't the Gallaghers or one of the Gallaghers leave early?
I'm not sure. There's a rumour, I think, that one of them walked out. I know thousands of City fans didn't they? Because I walked out onto the concourse, and I've told this story hundreds of thousands of times, it seems, at 2-1, because I just thought, no, I can't do this. And you just saw all of them just piling up Wembley Way, trying to get back in desperately. And I think by the time, obviously, most of them had got back in, it was 2 each, and then we don't talk about the rest, and we always turn off the YouTube video. But I think you're right in terms of an occasion and a day out, and the fact that, and I don't like saying it, little old Gillingham were, going toe to toe with the mighty Manchester City was in itself was a huge achievement. And
we were the better side.
Sorry?
We were the better side.
Oh, we was absolutely brilliant for 94 minutes.
Yeah. It's just a shame, with obviously the substitutions didn't help, but in hindsight, he was never going to know that we were going to concede 2 goals. And obviously when you go into extra time and you've got no Taylor and you've got no Asaba,
it killed us because we couldn't get out, could we? That was the trouble. And I think mentally we were completely shot. I mean, I was shot as a fan, so Christ knows how the players were feeling.
Yeah, obviously when it gets to the penalties and you've got none of them on as well, We were almost doomed. As soon as the final whistle went, we were doomed, and it was.
Who scored? Hodgie was the only one that scored, wasn't he?
Hodge scored, yeah, and
Smudger,
Pennock
and Butters all missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal lineup, is it? Like
No.
you say,
Nah.
trying to think who else was on, because maybe Nicky South. We don't know who the fifth one was, do we? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. But yeah, it was one of the worst, weirdest journeys home. I remember getting the train all the way back to Sittingbourne and silence the whole way, just absolutely, just eerie. It was so weird, so
Just
weird.
the shock. It was the shock. Even today, when it's constantly on. I think it was on the other day on Sky Sports. The EFL.
It's about playoff time, yeah.
And you can't help but watch it. It's still now, all these years on, I still do not know how that happened.
But do you do what I do? Do you still watch it and try and convince yourself that one time you're going to watch it and we're going to hold on and win 2-1?
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's just one of those. It'll never happen again.
No.
I can't see that ever happening again. And
it was weird. The year before there was the mad Charlton one, wasn't there, to get in the Premier League? You had like 2 in 2 years, and then they've tended to be relatively normal for ever since. But it's great to be, I suppose, to be a fan of a team that's part of one of the epic playoff finals. But Christ, I wish we'd just been on the right side of it.
Yeah, and no, it's just a shame. But the favourite game, or the game that I can remember, is the Preston playoff game. The
home leg.
The home leg. The whole atmosphere that day, and again, because it was my first season going properly to being in the rain and then seeing Priestfield packed, scoring early, the history that we seem to have from that season moving forward, and I think it was prior to I started going with Preston.
Yeah,
was just, again, back then Preston were a good side, and obviously the Gregan Hessenthaler battles, and obviously Hess scoring the goal after 1 minute something, and
a minute or so, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Again, the Rainamen going crazy, and I think I lost.
I couldn't get a ticket that year.
Didn't you?
Because it was we weren't. I don't think we were season ticket holders that year, obviously, because we were still only 17.
Yeah.
And I went to the away leg and then couldn't get a ticket for the home leg. There was 4 of us used to go. There was me and 2 others that went to school together, and then one of the lads, his brother, used to come with us as well. And we could only get 2 tickets after all the season tickets. So we had to draw it out of a bloody hat. So I ended up listening to the second leg on the radio, believe it or not. Yeah. So 2 of us were sat indoors together listening to it around I don't know, whatever it was on, like Radio Kent at the time.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were lucky enough to go. But I was one that got the short straw.
Yeah, I went to Preston as well. And it was because we didn't know what was going to happen with the tickets. For some reason, me and one of my mates went to Notts County, because I think that was the last league game. Thinking
I went to that as well. Yeah, it was already up in the playoffs, wasn't we? Saba scored the winner.
Saba scored, yeah, and it was one of that. That was my first away game with the Gills, and it was just one of those. We were like, should we go just in case? It's like you have to go to something to get a ticket.
Yeah, I think that was my first away game as well. Yeah, it probably was, because like I say, when I first 95, 96, 96, 97, I was still too young, really. Yeah, I think that might have been my first away game.
Yeah, it was mine for Gills. And then it was, and then we went all the way to Preston, getting picked up at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was.
Long day. I think that was the second time I'd been on a coach, and quite felt like he was there for weeks. But I remember that Notts County game, because we got on the. Do you remember getting on the bus afterwards and the radio was on, and that Jimmy Glass, the goalkeeper, scored to pick Carlisle up? Yeah.
Yeah, because that's been on Sky as well recently. I think it must be a certain amount since that goal, I think.
Who was it I spoke to? I spoke to one of the ex-players the other week, and he said he's still in touch with him. I think it might have been Vince Bartram, because he said that I think Jimmy Glass is now community officer at Bournemouth.
Okay.
So Vince sort of knows who he is, yeah. But yeah, just the weird memory of that is more than the game. I just remember it was a really good party atmosphere because we were already in the playoffs. But yeah, that's the thing that sticks in my mind, is getting on the bus and hearing that on the radio, that the goalkeeper scored, and you were like, Christ, what's happened here? It's mad. But yeah, there has been some
times
in there.
Things you remember.
It is, yeah, the weird bits that stick in your mind that probably shouldn't stick in your mind. Right, moving on from 90 minutes to full campaigns then. Favourite ever season watching the Gills live?
Oh, this was tough. I've gone for 2 and I've picked one over the other.
Okay.
Haven't gone for the league win. And I've got reasons for that. And it kind of contradicts not giving too well. He gives it all away from who I will pick as the manager, because for me, I've picked the 99-2000 season.
Okay.
And the reason I've gone for that is just because of what happened at Wembley the previous year.
Yeah.
Losing that, the start of the season that we had, the following season wasn't
we
great.
were awful, weren't we?
We were awful.
Oh, yeah.
Our best player got sold.
Yep.
The cup run, we got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
Yeah, I suppose when you break it down like that, it's not such a weird call.
We went to Wrexham, and it all went wrong. It all went wrong again.
It went very Gillsy again, didn't it?
It went very Gills. And then obviously we made the playoffs hard work again. And I just think from what the team went through that season, with the ups and downs, obviously Taylor leaving, the distraction of Cup, just everything. I just think that season, well, what a season. Obviously, got to go to Stamford Bridge. We took a hiding, but...
Yep, took it, yeah, but it was, they put out a proper side, didn't they? This was before the days of rotating and leaving out all your best players and playing the kids. It was a proper Chelsea side. And
I think because of the time of the game, I think I'm correct, but we actually were in the semi-final draw. Because
we played on the Sunday, I think. So the draw was made on the Saturday night.
And we were actually in the
nights, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we were actually in the semi-final draw, and it was,
which is always nice, yeah.
Which is always nice, yeah. And again, it probably never happen again. But I just think that
Chelsea. You touched on the Chelsea home game a little while ago, didn't you? And for me, that was incredible as well. The Arsenal game, the fact that, if you just think on one hand, you think, God, if we just got at them from the word go, we might have beaten them. But that last 25 minutes from 3-2 up until I think Good Johnson nicked one on the break, we were absolutely brilliant, and they were absolutely terrified.
Oh yeah. It's hard to imagine that, because to be fair, this season we've been pretty decent. Obviously, we won the league not long ago, but back then we were a good side, and obviously the younger fans might not remember back then, and they've got the YouTube, but we used to turn up to them games thinking we've got a chance. But nowadays it's a day out. Back then it was like, well,
we're going to win, yeah.
We could win this game. I don't know if it was due to especially the Chelsea game. Obviously, did it come the year after the quarterfinal, or was it 2 years after?
Yeah, it was a season after, wasn't it? Yeah.
Season after. So yeah, I don't know whether that gave them a bit.
Because we went Chelsea, Arsenal, Leeds, Charlton, I think, didn't we, in consecutive seasons?
That Leeds one was good.
In terms
of
Leeds was good.
So yeah,
again, it was another proper Leeds side. It wasn't. I mean, Smith, Viduka, I think Radaby played, didn't he? Eric Bakker, I think Bowyer played. Trying to think. I think Robinson was in goal, or was it? It might still have been Nigel Martin.
Nigel Martin, yeah.
But, so he was an England keeper. So either of them two is ridiculous. And like you say, we were competing in them games. We weren't there just making up the numbers, perhaps like the Chelsea game. But we were going and having a real go, and probably should have won the Leeds game after the red card, in fairness, and then come up just short, I think, in the replay, didn't we? Lost 2-1. Anyway, we've gone off on a tangent. Sorry, back to your favourite season.
That's the reason I'd go for that over the league winning season's obviously a very good season, but for me, again, it sounds a bit weird, but it was almost inevitable eventually that we were going to win the league. I know we tried to make hard work of it towards the end, but with
because of the start we had, I think we was probably almost thinking after Christmas that at the very worst we're getting in the playoffs and probably going to go up automatically one way or the other.
Yeah, and I think
we stumbled over the line a little bit, but I think the early part of the
5-6 games to go, we were 8 points clear.
Yeah,
and it was. I know we took ages to get that final point to actually win the league, but I think if it hadn't been so clear that we were going to win the league or get promoted, you'd obviously go for a league winning side. But I just think everything that happened in and around that 99-2000, I just think it has to be that for me.
Yeah, no, I probably tend to agree, to be honest. It was, and I say from sort of 95 when I first started going, certainly through to 2003, probably the best 8 years in the history of the football club.
Oh, yeah.
And 03-04, we started to just slide a little bit, and obviously it went to the last day, and then in 2005 we eventually got relegated. But from 2000 to 2003, then first 3 seasons in the Championship, we looked like we'd been there for years. And I think
and then we used to spend money as well. And again, Gills fans now when we're like, why don't we spend money? Scally needs to spend money. Back then, we spent some money. It doesn't look like
1.1 million in the space of a month on it summer of 98 on Taylor and Asaba.
Yeah, and you just look now at some of those players now, and it's just, you just look back and you just think, can't believe that they played for Gillingham. And it's
you're right. No, you're right. Like you say, Paul Shaw, Rodney Wallace, even going to the Championship side, Dion Burton played in the Premier League, played international football. So
Marlon King.
Marlon King, we paid $250,000 for, didn't we? I think we paid $250,000 for Chris Hope.
Yeah. Nyron Nosworthy. Even you look at Nicky Southall played in the Premier League, and you just think, we've had some very, very good players, and it's
they all tend to sort of centre again around that Pulis, Taylor, Hesse team, don't they?
Yeah.
That sort of late 90s turn of the Millennium outfit, which was, like you said, it was just really, really fun to watch.
And they kept getting better.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, that period and league position as well, we improved on. It wasn't we just thought we was getting better and bringing in better players. Statistically, we did, didn't we? I think 98, 99 obviously lost in the playoff final. The next season won the playoff final, and then we went 13th, 12th, 11th in the Championship.
Yeah.
So it was just year on year. We just kept improving and kept proving people wrong, I suppose, because no one expected us to be in that division probably for more than 12 months.
No. Well, you look now. I know it's completely different now with the money and stuff, but teams that get voted into the Championship, at best they last 2 seasons. But
you look at like Rotherham, Barnsley, they just swap places every season, it seems, don't they? They're like,
they probably
one goes up, one
played
comes
each other
down.
for 5 years, have they?
Exactly, because they just replace each other in their corresponding divisions. But I mean, it must be nice to, challenge for promotion every other season. But if you know you're then going to be in an horrible relegation battle for 12 months, I'm not sure I'd really enjoy it myself. But I don't know, maybe I'd like to be given the chance to worry about it. But anyway, you've sort of touched on this and you said you're going to contradict yourself a little bit. So I think I know who this is going to be. But greatest Gills manager?
It was between 2. But I've gone for Martin Allen.
Right.
Over Hessenthaler. First Hessenthaler Championship time.
Yeah.
And I've gone for Allen simply because I've never known another Gills manager use the tactics and the rotation system that he did. I've never known Gills turn up and then the following week they've made 6 changes. And it's...
After winning as well. That was the thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Because I think you've done some chats with Kedwell and stuff when he'd scored 2 goals and then the following week he's sitting on the bench, and it's like nowadays.
Nels touched upon it as well, and I've also done another that'll be out next week, which was Miles Weston, and he said exactly the same thing. But he said he didn't feel, obviously he was frustrated. He said that he weren't in the side if he'd been put on the bench, but it didn't worry him in the sense that he knew, and Martin Allen knew, that squad was so good, that championship winning season, that whoever went in his place, he knew they'd go and do a job as well as he'd do the job. So in that sense, weirdly, they didn't get that frustrated about being left out.
Yeah, it was weird being a season ticket holder that season. You just never knew who was going to play. It would be like if you were doing fantasy football and you had a Gills player in your team, it'd almost not be worth having one because you wouldn't know which week you'd be playing.
Didn't have a clue, who was going to play, like you say, because we'd win games, and Kedwell being a prime example, I think one week scored 2 and then next week weren't even in the 18.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, it ended up working, didn't it? So you can't really fault it at all.
Exactly. And just the rapport he had with the fans, the way he used to come out 5 minutes before kick-off and take his seat in the dugout. And he had that aura about him. And I think it's a bit like what Steve Evans has got now. I'm not a fan of a manager that just sits. And that's probably the issue I had with Steve Lovell, was more, he just kind of stood there. And I like my manager to if he's going to stand there, you want to be able to hear him. Yeah. And you almost felt with Allen and now with Evans that to the away fans, you can see why they hate them and why, when Evans wasn't the Gills manager, why we hated him.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, what was maybe your opinion when he first took over, but you've sort of answered it already. But yeah, I see what you're saying in the sense that he's like players, like you mentioned, Sean Gregan. We hated him when we was playing against his teams, but if
I'd have had him in the Gills.
You were supporting Preston, you'd have loved him, and I bet plenty of other fans of football clubs thought, Andy Essenthaler was an horrible little git.
Oh, if Gills had signed Gregan, I'd have had Gregan.
Oh yeah, but when he was playing against you,
when he was playing against him, couldn't
spitting
stand
feathers and shouting abuse at him for 90 minutes, like we all were. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you see the managers in the ear of the fourth official, and you can hear them coaching, and you can hear them having a go at the ref and stuff, it must be to our advantage that they're doing that. And I just you don't want them going too far, but I just think, again, what Evans is like now and what Alan was like, you could actually see them coaching the side. Like, you actually felt like they were doing their job. And for me, that season and a half he was there, I just think Alan was brilliant. And we probably wouldn't be where we are now.
Well, no, because you never know, do you? If we hadn't got out of that division, where we'd have ended up, we could be sort of muddling along in the middle of League Two somewhere. So being mid-table League One's probably not as bad as, again, and like you said, it comes back to maybe the younger fans, and we all have the same argument, and I've said it on plenty of chats and plenty of discussions in the ground or on the way to games, is that it'd be lovely if we were in the Championship and we had and Paul Scally would spend more money, but we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We're probably better off than most football clubs. Well, pre-coronavirus, we were probably better off than plenty of football teams, and we probably are about where we should be in the food chain. Yeah,
and I said it's nice. Obviously, if the season had carried on, it would have been nice coming into April or May, not looking who we've got last game of the season, thinking I've got to buy a ticket.
Yeah, it was nice to be looking that way, wasn't it? Trying to get into that line, into the top six, rather than looking below and thinking we've got to stay above that line that's 21st and below.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to go and enjoy the game, because we've had some seasons recently. You're turning up and it's just hard work. I think you're not enjoying the game.
A couple of seasons where we was going because it was a habit rather than, like you say, rather than you wanted to.
And you can tell by the attendances as well that the majority of season ticket holders that go, and even now when we're doing well, well for what we've been doing, the attendances seem to stay roughly the same.
And it's always just over 5,000 the average, and a couple of 6s and 7s, and like the West Ham game's lovely.
Yeah, and if we're down the bottom, it'd be 3s and 4s, and it'd be the same. It'd be the away fans plus the season ticket holders and a few others.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Right, if we're done with Gills manager, we move on to cult hero. Like I say to everyone, it doesn't have to necessarily be the best player, the most aesthetically pleasing player, just someone that whenever you think of him, you just think, I bloody love him.
Well, mine, this was quite easy, because again, I don't think he's not the best player that's ever played for the club, but for me, he's up there, and he's managed the club a few times, scored the best goal I've seen for the club.
Is it Hesse?
It's Hesse. I just think when he is Gillingham, he's Mr. Gillingham. He's done everything but be chairman, really. I just think
it's probably about the only role he hasn't done.
I just think he was never the most gifted player, but he gave 110, 120% every game. And
yeah, you're right.
When he was in the side, you thought we've got a chance.
Yeah.
And again, because obviously from when I started going, he was the main man. He was the captain, and and it's such a shame how it ended for him when he came back. You wanted him to be the man. I know obviously we won the league the following year, but you wanted so much for us to get to the playoffs with him would have been.
Yeah, we didn't miss out by a lot, did we? Because I know he gets a lot of grief for that second spell as manager, but football's fine lines. We missed out by goal difference and a point. It wasn't like we missed out like we was like 13th, 14th in the league. It was, and it still horrifies me now, the season when we lost the back-to-back home games. I think it was Barnet and Macclesfield, and we needed like a point or two from the two games, and we Gillsed it up again. But that's part of the fabric of being a Gills fan, I suppose, that at some point we're going to do something catastrophic like that. But I think the grief he gets is probably a little bit over the top, because it wasn't two horrible seasons, and we played some good stuff. I mean, at times we couldn't defend for toffee, but it wasn't a horrible season to watch in terms of results. We just come up a little bit short, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's just such a shame. I'm not one for obviously the jobs for the boys and all that, but I think I didn't get the stick that he got that time round. It was disappointing. Again, we weren't bad.
No.
You probably take 8 if you're offered 8th now.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
mean,
look
yes,
that
the
bad, does
division
it?
above. But if someone had said to us, top half, top 10 of this division this season, everyone would have gone, yeah, cheers very much, I think.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I
So-
just think the guy, the player, the manager, what a player, really.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. And yeah, Mr. Gillingham, I think, is probably the best way to sum him up. I think I've called him that a few times. And I think as soon as you think about, and I've said this to plenty of people, I think if you said to anyone, do a top 5 Gillingham players, 99% of Gills fans would have Hesse at some point in their top 5.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And that sums him up to a T, that he's just
I'm
well
not sure if
revered.
this story's right. Was the Chelsea story right about Hessenthaler and Ken Bates?
It's rumoured, isn't it, that Ken Bates said he was interested in signing the young whippersnapper in midfield, and then he got told that Hesse was 35.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was something that sort of Chinese whispers over time, but yeah, I've definitely heard it a few, and it wouldn't surprise me.
No, exactly, and that goes to show that if that is true, what a player he was, and he started late as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's probably adds to the romantic nature of what Andy Hessenthaler is, and probably makes him, or made him, probably become the player he did, because maybe he had to prove a point and he thought, I've got to try a little bit harder than everyone else because I've not been handed it on a plate. And like you said, he probably wasn't technically the greatest player, but he'd run through brick walls all day long.
Well, and his son inherited a lot of that.
Yeah, he's another one who gets undue stick.
Yeah, he wasn't the best player in the world, but again, you get 110% all the time.
But the trouble is, if he'd had a different name on his back, would he have got the amount of grief that he had? I don't think he would have done, because everyone wanted him to be Andy, which was, and I don't think it held him back, because he played 190 games for us. But
all the different managers picked him, didn't they?
That's it, yeah. So what, they're all in the wrong and all us fans are correct? Because we're all sitting playing Football Manager. But yeah, he played under Martin Allen.
Yeah.
Peter Taylor. Justin.
Yeah.
Adi. And Steve Lovell for a little while.
Yeah.
So all 5 of them, they're all ex-professionals. None of them knew what they were talking about. That's what makes me laugh. But
yeah. But that's for another time.
I could do a whole chat on Andy Hessenthaler. I could, and probably Jake as well. But yeah, like you say, it'd have to be a whole new episode. Right. Dunkeld hero, greatest ever Gillingham player. It could be Hesse again, and I'd have no issue with that at all.
No, this one's easy for me, and he wasn't there long enough for me, and the way he left wasn't great, but he cleared a few things up with you the other day. Carlos Saba, without doubt, and he lived in the shadow a little bit of Bob Taylor. But when you look again, Wikipedia might not be completely accurate, but when you look at the amount of games he played for Gills and the goals he scored, his strike rate for Gills was ridiculous.
It was just under 0.5, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I just think he's one of those strikers that when he was running through on goal, you knew it was in. And we've had some good players that score a lot of goals for us, but whenever they were through on goal, you were like, they're probably not going to score this.
Yeah, even, dare I say, and I might get shot down for this, even Cody towards the end,
he was
one-on-ones wasn't always the greatest. But yeah, I think the thing with probably Saabs was, unfortunately, like you say, being in the shadow of Bob, was he had that period where he was injured, and Bob then went on the most purple of purple patches you could ever imagine at the time, and was going along at a Ronaldo and Lionel Messi-esque rate. Let's not make any bones about that. I think I worked it out when I chatted to him. He scored 18 goals in his last 14 games. Now, if Ronaldo and Messi are doing that, that's all over Sky Sports, and Jim White's dehydrating himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the fact that Bob was doing that, Carlos Saba wasn't playing. But I think, dare I say it again, if you look at them over the 2 different seasons that they had there, or 3 for Carl was probably the more consistent in terms of regular goal scoring. I think Bob had more purple patches, longer to get going, whereas I think Carl hit the ground running a bit quicker, and generally his goals came over a sort of more consistent basis.
And he scored lots of different goals as well.
My favourite one's the Luton one. I spoke to him about that. in the
Was
rain.
that the rain one? Yeah.
Yeah, when he almost slid into the old main stand.
Yeah, I just think, like, yeah, he's one of those players that you just think, at the time, I didn't really know who he was because obviously he was there when I started going. I didn't really know who he was, where he'd come from. When you just watched him, you were just like, how have we got this guy?
Yeah, because then it was before like YouTube and Twitter and all that, wasn't it? So you had to rely on just newspaper, and if there was the odd TV clip on the news on a Monday night, I think like the local Meridian or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whereas now you see everybody's goals every day on YouTube, so it's the mystique probably sort of disappears a little bit. But I know what you mean. I think he come from, was it Reading he came from?
Reading, yeah.
Because he'd had a decent enough season, but obviously in terms of what they paid for him. But yeah, I remember that. I think he scored on his home debut, didn't he, against Wrexham?
Yes.
And you just thought, yeah, this player can play. Like you say, he had it all. He could edit. He could play with both feet. He was quick. And him and Taylor, by a million miles, the best strike partnership I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
They would absolutely.
And it was too short. It was so short-lived. Because when you take his injury into account, Saab's injury, they only played for it with each other for just over three quarters of the season by the time that Asaba joined. He didn't join at the start of the season. He joined after 4, 5, 6 games, I think.
I think he was in after a couple. I'm sure he was. But then like you say, and then so effectively that 98, 99 was it, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah. And you just.
What and then by the time Saabs came back from his injury, Bob had already left the next.
Bob had gone, yeah. So what you do now for 2 strikers? We've always been quite blessed to have one.
Yeah, I think if you get one and then others that sort of chip in with a few, you do all right. But we were lucky to have them, and you see where it took us. That's the thing. Yeah,
and I think even our first year in the Championship, I think he ended up bagging 12, 13 goals.
I think so, even before he left, and that was only in like sort of 2/3 of a campaign, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you just think, for me, what a player.
But you think even then we had him, we had Iffy, we had Marlon.
Yeah, Marlon King's another one.
Unfortunately, it's all just tempered a little bit because of the silly stuff he did off the pitch. But in terms of football ability, he's right up there with strikers that I've seen.
Yeah, he's another one. You look at how many goals he scored in the amount of games he played for us. It's frightening.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think he's another one who got about 40 in about 85 games. And you think, and then obviously went on and played in the Premier League as well. So I didn't realise Carlos Saba, though, was the going off on a tangent again. It was only when I was researching that. He's the fella that has the scuffed shot before Pesky Salido's header that David Seaman makes that miracle save from in that FA Cup semi-final years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, if you watch it back, find it on YouTube. The person who swings his left foot out, who should score, is Carlos Saba. Absolutely shanks it into the floor from 4 yards out. Yeah, and then obviously it's all now known for David Seaman making one of the iconic FA Cup saves.
Okay, have a look at that.
Right. Carlos Saba, greatest player. So I'm assuming he might just get in your all-time Gills 6-a-side team.
Yes. This was tough because I think I sent you a version of it. It's changed.
I deleted it because I didn't want to get a preconceived idea of what we were going to talk about. So I just deleted the message.
Yeah, when you...
I've not seen it. I just saw it flash up and got rid.
Yeah, when you sit down and you actually think about some of these, like, we've actually been quite lucky in certain areas. And for one, goalkeeper was a problem for me. And in the end, I was stuck between Nelson and I was stuck between Bartram. And I've gone for Vince. And the reason I've gone for Vince was just the first 5 years, the 2 playoff finals and the first 3 years in the Championship. He was the main man. And looking back, because obviously there's not much to do now. We're in lockdown. Type Gillingham in YouTube, watch loads of stuff.
Yep.
He made the odd mistake, but
what keeper doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. And Nelson made a few, but it was so close. But I've gone for Bartram as my goalkeeper.
They're the same as my. I don't know if you can see it. If I just spin that round, it's not. But up there, above that Tom Eve shirt,
that's
my wedding table plan.
Okay.
And Vince Bartram is on it, along with. I had Robert Taylor was the top table that I sat on, and then we had Vince Bartram, Andy Hessenthaler, Nicky Southall, Adi Akinbaye, Barry Ashby, Paul Smith, and Chris Hope. But again, I could have done about 3 table plans.
Yeah. So my defenders, I've gone I've gone for a 2-1-2 formation. Out
Inverted diamonds, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I've gone for my favourite Gills defender is Chris Hope. He was straight in.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Never injured. And he's another one. It's just, how did no one else take that guy before us?
For like 200,000, yeah.
It's just, again, he wasn't the biggest guy. I would be surprised if he was no more than 5'11", 6 foot. But in the end,
the other day, he was probably the smallest of all them centre halves we had. But the league.
He won everything. He won everything. And yeah, I just think he was so consistent. And it's a shame again how it kind of ended up with him. I think he finally started to get injuries towards the back end of his career with us.
He said on the chat that that was the only one that he ever had, and that's what he thinks led to him being allowed to leave. And he thinks it was used against him in the sense that they used the injury rather, because I think he said when we spoke that he got told it was because how old he was, but then they gave Ian Cox another year, and Ian Cox was older than him, and he thought about something don't quite happen, but that's football. But yeah, again, you go back to 2000 to 2003, didn't miss a game in them first 3 years, and we just kept getting better and better and better in the Championship, and it was a huge part of it. And
for a centre half not to get suspended, again, that shows.
He did it at Scunthorpe before that as well, didn't he? Went like 180 games consecutive, and then he did it for us. The bloke was.
To show what good player he is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
That would not happen. And partnering him, again, this was a tough one. It was between Simon King and the guy I've gone for. I've gone for John Egan. Again, another one that I think he got released from Sunderland, was it, when he came to us? Yeah. It's just how people didn't pick him up before he travelled halfway down the country to end up playing for Gillingham. And it's a weird one picking him because defensively we weren't very good when he was there.
So when did he join? 2014. So that was under Taylor, where we battled relegation. And then, well, we were decent for 2/3 of the Justin season, but
but we still conceded a lot of goals. But he he looked class, and he was
just one of them proper modern day centre halves, isn't he, that defends but can also play.
Yeah, and I just think, and I've probably gone from where he is now, why I've picked him over Simon King, because Simon King was another one that, when he was fit, was a class act.
Simon King probably could have got to where John Egan's got to, I think.
Definitely. And if Egan hadn't ended up in the Premier League playing for Sheffield United, I probably may have gone for King, and I probably shouldn't have done it that way. But
I suppose, because in that sense, Kingy earned us a promotion. John Egan didn't.
No, exactly. But I think if they played together, I would have took that. But for me, I just think
lovely.
Yeah, something about Egan. I just think because he was young when he came down, he captained the side a fair bit as well, and
he was definitely captain under Edinburgh. I think he was captain in that first season. I'm trying to think who was the captain. Was it Loft the first season?
Might have been. Yes. And he kept getting injured.
Egan was captain the season after.
Yeah. So for me, it was just when you looked at him, and he made the players around him look better. And if the goalkeeper rolled it out to Egan, you weren't thinking, just oof it, get rid of it.
Yeah,
he looked
more confident. With him.
It wasn't like if he rolled it to Gary Richards, and it was just like,
if you gave it to Gary Richards, you knew where it was going. Similar to how if you used to give it to Guy, you knew where it was going. And that was going to be that agricultural left foot in behind the fullback. But it worked. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Right, who's your midfielder?
My midfielder is Mr. Gillingham, Andy Hessenthaler.
Okay.
Only because, not even only because the guy's class, and because I wanted two up front, I needed someone that was going to scrap in midfield. And if you want someone to scrap in midfield, he's the man.
Yeah, I don't think he needs any further explanation. We've waxed lyrical about him already, and like you say, he is Mr. Gillingham.
Yeah, and the front two, you're not going to be surprised by, because we've discussed that.
Saba and Taylor.
And Taylor, yeah. Again, we were blessed at that time. We've spoken enough about them. You're never going to get another strike force, I don't think, like that. The goals, how good the team were. It summed up the Man City game. They both scored. They both linked up for the second goal. And we were just lucky back then to have two ridiculously good centre forwards.
Two different centre forwards as well. That's probably why it worked so well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I just think if you going 2 up front, need goals. Just hopefully they score more than the rest. I just think, Saba and Taylor.
It's one hell of a side, to be fair. Yeah, that's So it was Bartram in goal, John Egan and Chris Hope, Hesse in the middle, and then Sabs and Bob up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd win plenty of 6-a-side games.
I hope so.
Right. I think we're done.
Yes, mate. Thank you very much. Enjoyed that.
Been really good. Really enjoyed that, reminiscing, because it's the same era when I started going. So it was good that we had a lot of the similar sort of games and memories to talk about, which is.
Yeah.
But then I enjoyed the other ones. Like, I don't know if you watched the David Parry one yet. That was brilliant because it was great listening, especially to have someone whose dad played for the club was unbelievable, and all the pictures that he took the time to send me was really, really good as well. And I mean, it's great being a Gills fan, and as weird as that sounds sometimes, but to be a Gills fan and have your old man playing for him must have been unbelievable. So anyway, I'm going to let you go. Gills fans, you know where we are all the time. We're still on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. As I've said, you can go and check out Dave on Twitter at Dave Creasy GFC. Have a chat with him. Please keep staying safe. Please keep following all the guidelines. And until next time, up the Gills.